All right, what's good, my people, my good people, man? This live's a little bit different. Sometimes we come on, we mess around a little bit. We talk about hip hop. We talk about uh, many of different things, man. But this is a very important situation that we talking about, and we got my boy the Smokey Show on. Upcoming YouTuber, he's going through a political like some political stuff in his town, which is Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's from the state of Omaha, Nebraska, and when you hear a state like Omaha, Nebraska, you wouldn't think that there's so much gang violence going on out there and drive-bys and all of that stuff. But shit, it's just like any other small city in America. There's violence, there's blacks, there's white, there's different gangs, there's all type of stuff, man. And um, just like anybody else, man, they go through it too. They have hard times. They deal with the police pulling them over. They deal with racism. And man, my boy, he had a situation to where 2016. But matter of fact, let me start this off by sending my condolences to you and your family first. First things first. His mom is Barbara Williams. She was unfortunately killed by by a gang member out there in Nebraska. It was unfair. They took this lady from her family, grandkids, kids, and all of that stuff. And instead of the police out doing their job, they turned a blind eye. They turned a blind eye on this whole case, which let the original killer get away. You know what I'm saying? And Smokey, how what back in those days? It was 2016. Like, what was the streets like back in those days? What was the mood in the streets at the time?
Well, I remember that being a hot summer. So there was some stuff going on in the streets that the city knew about. There was also a well-known guy that the police wanted at that time named Michael Goins, who
Mm,
was arrested initially for a homicide that took place in broad daylight at a gas station where unfortunately a person named Lamont Secret, aka Chop, he's from 40th Ave, was shot in the back of the head and killed, pumping air in his tire. So the police
was this in broad
fixated
day?
on,
Was this in broad?
yeah,
Was this in
yeah,
broad daylight? If you don't mind me asking.
yeah,
Damn.
broad daylight at a QT gas station, which is pretty much Fort Knox the hell up with cameras. Um, so they fixated on him and they ended up arresting him. Some time goes by, about a year, maybe 10 months, and new evidence came to light that they had the wrong person and they had to let him go. So that's where we start with
Mm.
that.
So basically, while they were focusing on this guy that they arrested, which they probably knew was innocent, that kind of let the original killer get away, right?
Yes.
That they had tunnel vision on this guy, and the whole town probably thought he had something to do with it too, right?
Initially, yes.
Well, except his family, probably.
See, I'll say this: some of his family knew he was innocent, and a lot of the people from the neighborhood where the guy was from that got killed knew it wasn't him. But the police was fixated on him because Michael Goins, they call him Gangbang, had
Mm,
a well-known street reputation.
mm, that's crazy. You have were the police department keeping up with you guys as this stuff was going by, like as they were supposedly investigating on this case? Were they keeping up with you guys? Were they giving you guys any kind of information, or were they even looking for anybody as far as you know?
Are you talking about on my mother's case?
Yes, on your mother's case, yes.
So the police only brought one name to me, and that was Michael Goins. But before they brought that name to me, my baby's mother, whose house this all took place at, started
Mm,
at, they was all at her house. She came to me the next day before the police mentioned his name and showed me pictures of him at her house at a barbecue. So when that went down, She was very adamant because we got a son together and she's married to a guy that's from Michael Goins' neighborhood. She was very adamant that Michael didn't do it. So some days go by, I get a phone call from a detective saying they made an arrest and
Mm,
they said Michael Goins.
mm.
But initially there was 3, 4 other names that came up before Michael Goins. So
What
Michael
event?
Goins,
Oh, go ahead.
so
My
Michael
bad.
Goins was Michael Goins was a name that came up later on as time progressed.
All right. So after they figured out he didn't do it, did they even attempt to? Did they even attempt to go after the other guys, or like, or did they just had such a tunnel vision on this guy? Like, like what happened after they figured out the Michael Goins guy had nothing to do with it?
Well, according to them, he had everything to do with it. So that's why we here now, because other evidences came to light, and a strong case to reopen the case came to me now. That's why I'm pushing this thing at this point. They never really brought up anybody else. They was fixated on Michael from day one, and that was because they were mad they had to drop that case on the guy that got killed in broad daylight.
Because they probably wanted him anyway, huh? He probably had, he probably was out there doing a lot of stuff, and they just probably wanted him off the streets anyway, huh?
Yeah, from the sounds of
Mm,
it, yeah.
man, I can, man. Well, I can say that I can imagine how this would feel. I take my hat off to you too, man, because from our little talks that we've had, over the last couple of days, you've been going out and doing the footwork yourself. You've been going asking questions, you know, checking situations, hitting people up, and that's got to be hard, bro. Like, what motivates you to continue working on this case? You know what I'm saying? I know it's definitely your mom or whatever, but like, what motivates you every day to keep trying to get this case solved?
Outside of my mother being an innocent woman who didn't deserve it, it's the fact
Mm,
that here, not just here in Omaha, but everywhere across America, we have a lot of people who gets locked up every day for crimes they didn't commit just because
mm,
the police don't want to do their job or because a person has a name. But that's not fair to justice.
right.
It's not fair to the ones that deserve answers. And I'm not the type of person to sit back and be okay with that because at the end of the day, like I said, my mother didn't deserve that. I would have understood this a lot better if my mother was a homie and she was out here gang banging, doing shit, or if maybe my mother was backdooring they homies and getting them whacked off or something. But I can't understand an innocent woman getting gunned down like that, and that just being that, and the police not wanting to actually do their job to close out the case. So at this point, my only focus, I've been up day and night. I'm in contact with his sister, his mama, his brothers, their neighborhood. At this point, I'm trying to talk to the lady who was on the stand because where it is, she lied on the stand, and
Mm.
her daughter came out and said that she told her she lied on the stand. Apparently, there was some family beef. The girl that got on the stand and pointed out Michael Goins is cousins to him, and there was some issues going on amongst their family, and she took it upon herself to get up there and point him out.
Hold on. Did she get arrested for making a false statement?
No, because according to the police, at this point, she made the right statement.
Mm. That's crazy. Did as far as like the city, man, did the city come out for your mom's passing or whatever? Like, did they protest? Did y'all hit city hall? Did y'all, do the black thing, man? Did y'all go out there and hit up detectives, talk to lawyers and stuff like that?
So initially, when it first went down, within the first couple of days, there was a lot of prayer walks, a lot of police out there. Some of the city was out there trying to talk to us and things like that. But once the case wrapped up back in 2018 and they found Michael convicted, it just
Mm,
went to the wayside. And that's when all the rumors started that I started hearing personally from people from opposite neighborhoods, his neighborhood, saying he didn't do it. and that he
Mm,
didn't do it part got so loud that it became you just couldn't ignore it no more. So that's why I posted that after David on my page on the Smoke Session Reloaded,
right, right.
because that person that's in that paperwork was the one that was being shot at that day. He's the
Mm,
one who was initially the target. And he came out and signed the affidavit while he was in prison with Mike. And they from sworn, it's like a Hoover
and
neighborhood type situation. They do not get along. So he
mm,
came out and signed that affidavit stating that he knows for a fact that Michael Goins wasn't the one that killed her.
and see, that's another good thing I say, man. It takes a real man to free the innocent. Somebody else was locked up for for something that that they didn't do, and not just the fact that you want your mom's case solved. You don't want you don't want an innocent man in jail, because a lot of people would have just chunked it in the trash and be like, whatever. But it seemed like you're going even harder to prove that he was innocent, and you didn't, and that you didn't want an innocent man in jail, man. And it takes a man to do something like that.
Yes, especially because a lot of times in these situations, murder victims' families, they, even if they may hear a whiff of somebody being innocent, their mind is one track. It's like,
Hmm.
we got justice, that's it. They don't want to reopen old wounds. But me personally, this has to be done, because if I don't do this, there could be another Barbara Williams out there that don't get justice in Omaha, and they could lock up another innocent
Right,
man.
right.
So I
Man,
want
it
to say
feels
this.
like that. No, go ahead.
I made a video a few days ago, or maybe a week ago, kind of snapping out about feeling like I was being played about the interview. Well,
Hmm.
that was before I got that information in that affidavit. So I got that affidavit shortly after that interview. I mean, shortly after that video I did and conversations with some of his family. So once I got that, I had to backtrack and be like, you know what? This right here is undeniable. You can't deny this, because there's no reason for this man to come out of his way and say this man wasn't the shooter, because I've had face-to-face interactions with this person that signed the affidavit, and the way he was feeling that day and the way he was talking to me, I just know deep down in my heart, and I believe without a shadow of a doubt, he believes and he knows for a fact he didn't do it.
Right. Have y'all gotten like any politicians out there to try to help y'all with this case? Like, how you see Reverend Al Sharpton, he goes to try to help people with murder cases, or no, like like people like that. Have y'all got any like politicians or maybe people with the church? You know what I'm saying? To come out there and try to help you guys solve this case.
Not yet, because a lot of this stuff that I've been pushing these past couple of days started on Friday. So Monday, tomorrow, I'm going down to the city hall, the DA's office again for like the third time. Probably will get shut out again by them, but I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna go down there again. I'm going to the news stations to push my line again, and then hopefully I can get this story on bigger platforms, so they cannot, just ignore it. So I've been pushing and pushing and pushing, tagging the mayor in Facebook posts, tagging Omaha Police Department, tagging the news stations and all that stuff to my post to alert them, like, look, I'm on to y'all, and I'm coming.
Hmm.
I'm coming. I need answers.
Right. Um, that's what drawed me. That's what drawed me to your attention. Like one of the lives, you was going hard, man, and you was talking about this case and stuff. And I kind of sat there and listened to the whole live, and it damn near made me tear up. You know what I'm saying? Like you explaining the situation that because you were young at the time, right? You were what, in
I
your
was
early
about
20s?
20. I was 24.
Right? You were early. You were was it the early father at the time, right?
Well, I was
And
probably a vet at that time. I had about 6 kids, but
right, but you were still
was just
young, no?
becoming a real man. I was just becoming a real man at that time.
Right, but you were still trying though, because like I said, the average person would have gave up by now. You know what I mean? And the passion that you were showing on that live the other night, which drawed me to you. It was probably like a good 30 of us in your live last night, man. And I think I'm pretty sure that everybody else in that live felt that way. You know,
Yeah.
and I've been noticing you've been going hard a lot lately, man. Like shit, what more is there to do, man? Like you've done a lot already, and it seems like you're not going to give up. Like what's the next step in a situation like this? What more can you do?
Right now, the most what else I can do is keep exposing the bullshit and the lies. Like for one lie is they said it took about 4.5 minutes obeying traffic laws to get from 24th and Ogden to 48th and Boyd on a
Mm.
Monday in the middle of rush hour at 4:30 or 4:23. That's bullshit because
You,
today I
you went
traveled the
up,
same path. Huh?
you went out there and tested the theory yourself to try to see,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep. Today I did a drive on a Sunday when it was low traffic and I took the path they said he took in court. It took me 10 minutes and 30 seconds to get there. So there's no possible way in hell he could have got from 24th and Ogden to 48th and Boyd in under 7 minutes, did a shooting, came back, changed clothes, and took a damn picture.
Mm.
There's no way.
Somebody in the comments said something about gang unit. Did have you heard anything from the gang unit in Omaha?
Man, the gang unit dirty than a motherfucker. I'm gonna just be quite honest with you, because they're the reason why Michael Goins even got picked up. They're the ones that was fixated on Michael from jump about the 40th Ave guy that got murdered. They wanted
Mm.
him bad. So when they had to release him, this isn't a rumor, what I'm about to say. Some
Right.
police told his sister, we know Michael Goins is innocent, but there's nothing we can do. And
Wow.
there
That's
was another
crazy.
officer that there was another officer that told her and their family, like, we're not going to stop after they released him from that first murder until we can get him on something else.
That's just crazy, bro. Hey, have you like it's been 10 years now. Have Are you worried about like the police coming to you or them trying to frame you possibly on something just because you're opening up this can of worms and showing their flaws in their department? You know what I'm saying? Like, were you worried about that at all happening?
I walk with God and I feel like this, man, there's nothing they can do to me that already hasn't been done. And if they got to go to that extreme, that just shows their guilt.
Right. How does
So
the
I'm
rest of
not
your
afraid.
how does the rest of your family feel about this? Do they have the same passion? Are they telling you to slow down? Like, how do your family feel about this?
That was a good question because I've after I did the interview that got put out on the Smokey Show, my first channel, my family and me
Hmm.
stopped talking because they were upset that I was out here doing this. And that's a whole lot of family, you know what I mean? And I told them, like, look, ain't no way in hell I'm gonna be out here trying to free somebody that killed my mother that I yearned my whole life to have a relationship with. So
Right.
if you feel like that, then you can keep doing what you've been doing majority of my life and staying the fuck away, because this is
Right.
bigger. This bigger than y'all. You know what I
Right.
mean? My mother would want me to do this because after she was murdered, I was the only one down here with my sister, so I was the point of contact. That I'm the only person that they was talking to consistently. The DA, the detectives, everybody. So this has been on me. So when she initially was killed, they asked me, because she wasn't from here, did I want her to stay in Omaha and be buried, or move to Des Moines where the family was, where her mom and him was buried. I said it would be selfish of me to have her down here knowing she's not from here. So I sent her back to Des Moines to be buried. And I did that out of love for my family. And I don't regret it as much as I hate the fact that, they took the route they did. But hey, you know, they family, but they not somebody I got to deal with. I got to answer to my kids.
Or in the midst of all of this stuff going on, man, has it made you feel important into like investing in the youth, like helping the? Because I see that you get your son to the basketball games and you're out there cheering for your son a lot. Does this make you want to spend more time with the youth and invest your time into like the youth sports leagues and stuff like that? And maybe speak to the younger generation about gang violence. You know what I'm saying? Me myself, I think that you would be the perfect person to go around speaking about this because I believe you have a story, a hell of a story. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. And the main thing I really want to get to them is that it's bigger than the streets, man. And really, right at this point, I want to teach them like, look, if you see something, say something, because that street code, that's not a civilian's job. We
Right,
need civilians to start acting like civilians and stop acting like they got to be street niggas and live by this code. That's why the streets is fucked up. Everybody want to keep saying the street nigga, the street nigga. No, the
right,
streets is fucked up because civilians want to overstep their boundaries and start acting like street niggas. No, your job is to pick that phone up when you see some bullshit going on and report that shit. We need our communities back. And we need
right,
these kids to be able to grow and be something. But the more we keep pushing this, shut the fuck up, don't say nothing, you a snitch and all that shit, these kids ain't gonna have a chance in hell. So I
right.
just want them to understand, like, look, it's a lot more out there in this world than trying to be some type of street nigga. You got all type of opportunities out here, and you can create opportunities.
Yep. Because we're in a time right now to where everybody, we're in the rubberneck generation, I like to call it. Instead of calling the police, somebody would pick their phone up and record it first. And
Yes,
we need to get past that because we there's been a lot of people that died for that last 10 minutes that it could have took that they could have been helping this person, and they're sitting there filming the situation. They could have got down there and helped. And but that's the
yes.
generation we in now, man. I feel like we need to change that. You know what I'm saying? But how do you feel about that?
No, you're right. I feel like social media and these cameras, these phones have fucked up the minds of the youth and the adults. Because now we got the adults rushing to act like kids before the kids get a chance to even be kids.
Yeah,
So that's where I'm at with that for sure.
yeah, man. All right, as far as Omaha, man, like give us like a story about the like the gangs and stuff out there, because a lot of people probably didn't think that Omaha had like gang communities out there. Do they share some of the same gangs that they have here in California, like the Hoovers, the neighborhoods and stuff like that? Give us an
Yeah.
idea of like what the gang scene is like that out there.
So we got a street called 37th Street Hoovers, which is they're 107 Hoovers. We got some
Mm,
Salos, if I'm not mistaken, or they're Salos. We got
yeah,
some Bloods. I think they're neighborhood, something like that. Pyru. I don't know exactly what it is for sure. We got some Santana block. We got a
wow.
we got a mixture of everything. A lot of these Blood and Crip sets literally originated and got their whatever they blessings, whatever you want to call it, from California. So they're
Mm,
legit, and they just got mixed up with, or they got separated by Uptown, which is 37th Street Projects, 40th Ave, Fofo, and now they got a thing called Park Lane, and then you got downtown, which is Victor Street, uh Vietnam, which was a very popular, famous project. You got 29th Street, Camden Block, uh man, 20 Deuce Fold Mafia. You got to, and them downtown, or but the bottoms and flatland past Uptown going down is all Bloods mainly, besides Camden
mm.
Block, which is Crips. Uptown is all Crips.
Somebody in the comments said that did the drug scene bring gangs out there? Like I'm thinking they trying to say did that like the '80s drug scene from California, did that bring drugs out there? I heard that Omaha was one of the first states that the California gangs came to. I think they said it was Omaha, Nebraska, and what was that other state? Little Rock, Arkansas, and Texas. That's what I was told. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but those were like some of the first three states that had gangs there that was brought by the drug scene. Would do you
Yes.
feel the same
So
way?
so like Vietnam and Hilltop, which are infamous projects, is some of the first places that they came to. There was a situation back in the day where Omaha was getting their stuff from California, and they cut it off or whatever. But yeah, that definitely happened. They came from out there with the drugs. The gangs migrated out here. You know, it's pretty. It's like open market out here for a while. You can get a lot of money,
Mm.
and that was before the police started cracking down and all that other shit. And the infamous shooting in the Hilltop Projects with the police, where they literally had dudes like hanging on the fucking ceiling shooting at the police. Like it got crazy.
All right, somebody in the comments said, "Tell us about your mom. What kind of lady was your mom, man? Like, was she a loving mother? Give us an idea, like a background on your mom and your family organization or whatever."
So my mother, Barbara Williams, she had me and 11 other kids. I'm the sixth or seventh oldest out of 11 siblings, and
Mm,
she originally moved from Greenville, Mississippi, moved
mm,
to Chicago, and then came to Des Moines. After she got to Des Moines, she had a few kids, got them taken, and the judge told her if she had any more, they were gonna take us at birth. So she
wow.
ran down the Council Bluffs, Omaha area and had us. And then we ended up getting adopted because she lost us. One night she
Dang.
went out on a binge. I woke up, noticed my mom wasn't there. My sister was crying. I gave her a bottle, went next door and knocked on the door. The lady opened the door, and that's where it started from there. I didn't get to meet my mother until I was 15, that I
Mm,
vividly remember. After that, we started building a relationship. um, I lost track of her for a little bit, met her again when I was like 18, 19. And then finally I went to jail back in 2015. I was looking at some serious time. She came down from Des Moines and moved down here for her grandkids.
mm,
She was still fighting an addiction and things like that, a crack addiction. That's another reason why she came down here, to get away from that shit up there.
mm,
And that was May. I got out of jail May 20th, 2015. She died April 25th, 2016. So I wasn't out more than a year before she got murdered, and trying to build a relationship. She was well known up there in 48. The project people loved her. She fed people. She, was cool with everybody. Everybody, looked at her like a mother.
she like
I
she was
moved
like a
in.
she was like a neighborhood mom, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. She very country and ghetto. You know that type of lady. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
so I moved in with her on 48 and tried to build a relationship with her with my kids. And then probably 3 months before she got murdered, I realized she was using again. And I
Mm,
confronted her about it, and she went off on me, and I busted out crying like, "Mom, come on now, you lost all of us due to your drug habit. I can't be here with my kids if you going through that and doing that." So I ended up moving out.
mm,
About a month and a half later, a month before she got killed, I got a call in the middle of the night, and she was like, "Man, bring them kids over here." And I said, "Mom, I'm not coming over there in the middle of the night with my kids to 48 with all that shit going on over there." Next call I get was literally, I'm on the opposite side of the projects where she just got gunned down at. My wife's asking me my mother's last name, and that's how it all kicked off. And yeah, so at the time she had got gunned, or just got gunned down, I was on the opposite side of the park
damn.
driving towards my my girl's house, and that's how I found out. But she was a very loving lady, man, and she tried till the end to beat that addiction. And that is why, it really bothers me, because we didn't get to really build a relationship the way I wanted. Like we had one, but it wasn't what I really needed from her. And
Right.
yeah, man, like yeah. And then, she wanted to see my son, who was born 2 weeks before she was killed, and she never got that opportunity. And that was mainly because my I held on to a grudge from the last time I seen her. And
Mm.
yeah, so I carry that every day. Like, if I just would have put my pride to the side, she would have got that opportunity.
Are you in contact with all of your siblings, your brothers and sisters?
Yeah, for the most part.
So how do they feel about you? About you kind of going out there and trying to figure this stuff out still, 10 years later. Are they kind of like telling you to back off, or like how do they feel
So
about this whole situation?
my little sister, who was adopted with me, we talked today, and she was like, brother, if it wasn't for you just being how you always been our whole life, always second guessing things, always seeking the truth out and stuff, like we never would have known and never would have had any idea all this. So she's very, um, because she's a split image of my mother. So she's very, happy and thankful that I took these steps all these years to not let it go. Some
Mm,
of my other brothers, my older brothers, they in and out of prison right now. And the oldest one we got, he had a strenuous relationship with my mother. So he kind of, I ain't gonna say don't care, but it's not his main concern. But
right.
yeah, so that's where we at with that.
No, it seemed like the people in the chat, man, they like how you are pushing to get this case solved, and you went even harder to free a man that was charged for this case and shit, man. But like I say, I couldn't imagine going through that, and this has to be like a nightmare waking up to this every day. So
Well, I'll say this,
yes,
awkward man. The biggest nightmare that because I just told my wife yesterday, I said, I think I'm at the point where I can start healing, but the problem I got now is figuring out how to get that image out of my head of seeing her laid out with that bullet in her. That shit is always, I feel like, going to be a battle. And that's
yeah,
kind of what drove me to addiction for a minute with the pills and shit for the longest,
mm,
because
right.
I have sleep. I can't go to sleep. I'm up late nights. Like it's just a battle, man.
No, you got this because you sound like a very strong man. Like the all right, the situation that you had with you and your mom, does that make you a better father? 'Cause I always like to say, my mom did drugs in her time, when we grew up in Compton, and my father wasn't around. And I feel like that made me a better father. I'm there 100% for my kids. I'm here with my granddaughter all the time, chilling with her. But does that impact your fatherhood? Does that make you a better father?
Yes, it does, and that's really my driving force because I got 11 kids myself, coincidentally, and only two of them are not with me like that. But the rest of them, I do my job as a father. I got 7 kids that stay with me every day. I go to sleep to them, wake up to them. So my main focus has always been to never make the same mistakes as my mother, never allow myself to get so far gone. And I don't hold that against her because I know how life can be, but don't let myself get so far gone to where I forget I'm a parent, or that shit takes me away from what the main thing is, which is my kids. So I focus every day on just trying to better myself and let my kids know, you can make mistakes, you can do all that, but you just got to be man enough or woman enough to own up to them and try to change it. Like the hardest thing to do is actually make change. It's easy to
Right.
say you want it and all this other stuff, but you
Hmm.
have to really take the steps to make change,
Work at
and
it.
that
Yes.
that begins with looking in the mirror and admitting where you're wrong at.
Right. Right. All right. I remember you were saying that your first channel got took, and I know you was going real hard about this case on your first channel. Do you think maybe the Omaha police had something to do with your first channel coming down? Like, you think they might have formed some kind of attack on your channel?
No, that was due to some content I ran on a person that, looking back on it, was pretty petty. So I shouldn't have did that anyway. But no, that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, man. What's there to do out there, man? Why is the gang scene so heavy out there in Omaha? Is it just because of like the drug activity? What makes Omaha, Nebraska such a gang ridden state? You know what I mean? Like, it kind of
I'll
explain that
say
to me a
this:
little bit.
you kind of hit it on the head in the beginning when you said, "What's there to do?" That's the problem. There's nothing to do. They invest in all these gas stations on every corner. They invest in all these banks. They invest in the criminal system and all this other stuff. But there's no really after school programs. There's no type of programs to keep kids busy. Things like that. Like growing up, we had the Croc Center that was always jumping on weekends where everybody went to go hoop. We had parks where everybody was hooping at on weekends. Hoop It Up came to town. Like Omaha, they took a lot of that shit out, and I feel like that was by design. But there's
Right.
nothing really there for these kids to do coming up besides get in the streets.
Yeah, you're right, bro. And they do the same thing like that out here, man. They take a lot of the sports programs, and I think voting has a lot to do with that too, man. People think that
Yeah,
it's not important to go down and vote, but the people that you represent in Congress or whatever, the politicians, a lot of them have the money and the power to invest money into these sports programs, into these working programs and stuff like that. And when you take stuff like that out of I always felt like, all right, if you're gonna take some away for the youngsters, have something to give back. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because when you give them nothing to do, when you give them no jobs, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna go out there and tear the city up. You know what I'm saying? Is that like the same example of what's going on out there?
Yeah, they took everything from them and then expect them just to stay out of trouble. And everybody knows kids are curious. And when they got nothing to do, they start doing shit they shouldn't do. So
Right.
that's the problem it ended up creating where now you got these kids that naturally just start going at it with everybody else and it becomes something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, and it seems like that's becoming a problem in more and more states. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, me being from California, I would have thought that the only stuff like that happens in California, but I'm starting to see it happen in more other smaller states now. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
And
I
it's
want to touch on something else real quick about Michael Goins, not to backtrack, but
no, no, no. Go ahead.
there was a
Whatever
lot
you
of
want to talk about.
witnesses. Majority of the witnesses out there kept saying the person had dreads and was wearing a hat. Michael
Mm,
Goins never had dreads his whole damn life. Okay, until recently in these past 10 years that he's been locked up.
mm,
So they naturally, I feel like, dropped the ball on that because there was more witnesses mentioning dreads and all this other shit. But they never really investigated that because somebody got jumped the night before and had their dreads ripped out and threatened that they was coming back. They never tested the dreads. Another person got caught with the murder weapon down the line. So yeah,
so, oh, so somebody actually seen the killer or whatever. Somebody actually seen the
oh, there
person
it
that did
wasn't
it.
just somebody; it was a lot of them.
Wow. See, and that's the problem you were just saying, man. Like, the gang politics make people think that they shouldn't go out there and help sometimes, man. Like, I always feel like, man, people they're online saying, "Oh, Compton or LA is is soft now." But ain't that what we working for? We want our cities to be better and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you got a lot of people out there that go online and they protest that this city is got the crime rate for this year or that city does. You know what I mean? But we need our people to help, so to help the law sometimes, to solve cases like this. You know what I mean? Like the politics are not important when it comes down to a case like this. I feel, you know what I'm saying?
most definitely. You're right.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
Yeah, nah, but man, I like what you're doing, man, because I can't say that I would have the heart to go as hard as you're going, man, trying to get this case solved. You know what I'm saying? And you putting it on your platforms, and from what I see, man, you've been going out and putting boots to the ground too, and talking to people. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised the police ain't pissed off about that. Like you going to
Oh,
talk to
quiet as
witnesses.
kept. I know they are. I know they are. I know they are because they wanted this to remain silent and wrapped up in a bow and just accept it for what it was. But I was not about to accept an innocent woman getting justice at the hands of an innocent man because to me, that sets a bad precedent. Like I can somewhat barely understand it when you got gang shit going on and whatever the case is, because that's where shit like that typically happens at where you arrest the wrong person and you don't give a fuck. But when you
Hmm.
start doing that type of shit to innocent people, like, bro, you setting a bad precedent.
Yeah, that's real. And it really like the harder you work, it makes it look like they're not doing their job. You know what I mean? And
Most definitely.
that they feel like that's going to hurt their wallet. You know what I'm saying? Like out here, they had. I'm pretty sure you heard about the war between the East Coast and the Florencia 13s, right?
Yep.
Now, a brother came out and squashed that beef. People were dying left and right amongst that 40-year war. But the police got pissed off about him squashing that beef. You know what I'm saying? Because all the crime went down in that area, that section. And I think the police seen it as him being a direct enemy because they took money off of it. He took money off of their plate. He got rid of
Yeah.
all of the over it. He got rid of all of the overtime. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, sometimes the police can get pissed off when um, just regular people go and try to do their job, as they would say.
That's why I'm a firm believer in at this point in time, the corporate America doesn't want a strong black man. They want somebody they can control because the second you get a black man that stands on his own too, it go against everything they preach. So when you got
Yeah,
a black man or black people out here pushing peace, positivity, and trying to get things, settled down and stuff, and really taking it serious, it goes against everything that they stand for, because the prison
right.
system and everything is a monopoly. It's a lottery. You know what I mean? Cha-ching.
Hmm. Yeah, they get paid for it, and now they're starting to show. They're showing that politicians are directly invested into these prisons. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're trying to build a direct pipeline from the streets to prison. You know what I'm saying? If you ask
Yes,
me,
I feel the same
um,
way, man.
I don't know, but what? How do you feel? Do you feel like I know us as people, we're not perfect, but do you have the answer yourself for a lot of the crime that's going on out there? Like, if it was up to you to make changes in your neighborhood, how would you make those changes yourself? Just give us an idea of the changes from the things that you see, all of the crime that's going on. How would you change all of that stuff yourself?
Kind of like the old saying goes, try to get everybody to understand like we not the enemy, and also just trying to get people to look in the mirror. Like, man, when you looking in the mirror, you looking at the person you hate the most. Like, how can you
Mm,
hate yourself that much? Regardless if they from a different area or not, they just like you. If we can
right,
get that hate, if we can find a way, which I don't have the answer for that, because it seemed like everything you try to do eventually fails, but it's like getting the hate out of our heart, because it's a sickness, it's a disease. And we
right,
hate everything about somebody else that resembles us. And I think people lose sight of that. So my main thing is trying to get everybody to understand, like, look, man, we all walk in the same path. And at the end of the day, if we can just understand, like, again, like the old saying goes, we not the enemy, man. Like, we got to put our resources into fighting the system that is actually trying to pit us against each other, and not only pit us against each other, but trying to kill us off. Then at the end of the day, they can't fuck with us, because before the FBI and Hoover infiltrated the Black Panthers and stuff, they was a strong organization, but
mm-hmm,
certain things that they implemented helped tear it down. We got to
right,
know ourselves. Once we know ourselves, there's nothing that can infiltrate that. If we know ourselves and know each other well enough, we know what's finna come our way.
right. How do you feel about like the schooling and stuff? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about prison reform? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about stuff like that? You told me that you did a little time. How do you actually feel about prison reform and changes in the prison? You know what I mean?
I feel like most people just get a certain outlook on people who's locked up and people that commit crimes, but just from being inside jails and things like that, I know that everybody deserves a second chance. And a lot of times
Right,
this stuff be circumstantial. So when certain things go down, that don't mean that that's the type of person they is. Yeah, you got certain crimes that you can commit that I'll be like, man, that's just you, like pedophilia, things like that. I'm not going for that. But there's other things out here, crimes that people commit that are done circumstantial wise. So me personally, I'm all for giving people a second chance. But the problem
yeah,
is, the people that create these laws and stuff don't believe in second chances, which goes back to voting. So if we don't vote in the right people, then all that shit don't matter, because they
right,
laws don't reflect second chance.
right, right. Um, you're definitely right, man. You ain't said nothing wrong. If you can put together like a team, like to get out there and do like safe passage and stuff like that, stuff for the youth. If they put the money in your hands, should I say, to make a change in your neighborhood, how would you spread that money across the city? Like, what would you do to make a difference in Omaha, Nebraska? Because you do have a son, you do have kids coming up, and the future is theirs. What would you actually do, man? What kind of changes would you make to change the outlook in your city? Because the future, the kids are our definite future. You know what I'm saying?
The first thing I would do is get these neighborhoods together in one area. Let them know, like, we got money that that can be spread out, just so they understand, like, this is about money, because that's what a lot of this is about. But I would
Hmm.
try to get money spread out amongst these hoods and get these people to understand, like, look, you know generational wealth is the ultimate goal. If we can keep, how do I say this? If we can keep making money, then there's no reason to keep beefing. Because at the end of the day, a lot of this crime is about money. People
Right.
do these crimes to try to make money. So I definitely would try to get everybody together and try to put some type of after school program in each hood. I would try to start a basketball team from each hood, a baseball team, maybe a football team, to start with that, to try to get people to come together for a certain cause that is something everybody loves. Competitiveness, we love sports. We could start with that, and then usually sports and things like that bring people together. You never know. You could start understanding like somebody just like you, if that
Yep.
makes sense.
Yep.
So I would start with that. Try to put um uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Group building type activities in each area to get people to understand how to work together with each other.
That's real. Somebody in the comments said, "All right, do you think gang members should be in charge of cleaning up the mess that they started in the city? Because I guess out here in California, all of the gang members they run the programs or whatever, the 5013Cs or whatever,
Yeah.
all of those little programs or whatever. Do you think that they should be in charge of coming back and fixing the neighborhoods that they destroyed?
I believe it should be an all hands on approach, because I believe when you put it in one person's hands, it creates a certain type of energy of uncertainty, just non-trusting, like you don't trust people and stuff like that. So I would start with reformed members, somebody that is reformed, and then go to people that may be active, and then try to reach out to an outside source to help with that. Like, form a group, reform an active one and an outside source that can all sit at the table and come together with a plan. Because I feel like if you leave it in a certain person's hands, it's not going to work, because you're going to always have the ones that be like, you don't know what I've been through, or you don't understand. So if you get somebody from each background who's been through it, understands it, and is in a different walk of life that where everybody's trying to get to, I feel like at that point, then you can actually get some type of change.
All right, look, all right, we both know how toxic the internet is. Do you think if the internet was led the right way, it can fix some of the problems we have in our community? And somebody in the chat
Look,
want to know what your channel is too.
smoke session reloaded. But most definitely, I feel like there's always a place for the bullshit and stuff like that, but I feel like that gets promoted more than the positive stuff. And I feel like what you see is what you want to be. So if you always got these kids seeing this bullshit and all that other stuff, they gonna find that entertaining. But if you
Right.
put something more positive in front of them, that can show them, like, look, there's a way out of this, or there's other opportunities, then that'll train the mind to think that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. 'Cause, no, I think there is money on the internet, and the internet has taken over our entertainment, man. Like TV, nobody wants to watch TV no more. Nobody wants to read. Nobody, kids don't even want to go outside and play no more, bro. Like when we was
Facts.
growing up, man, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, man, we was out there scratching our legs up, falling on bikes, and now these kids, man, they be trapped in a corner on their games, on their tablets, and I think that has changed in the world a lot. I think uh, this generation of kids are raised by the internet. Now, do you think that can be turned around to where it can actually help, help people, or do people need to monitor what their kids are watching on the internet? How do you feel about this whole internet phase or whatever that's going on in life
I
right now?
I believe part of the reason why the internet is raising these kids nowadays is because it's kids raising kids who came out of that same type of, way of being brought up. So when you got a kid who was taught to sit down and play a game or do something that was probably less productive, now you're teaching them that, and teaching is evolution too. Once you start teaching them something, they're gonna think that that's the way things go when they have kids. So now you
Right.
got these kids who are kids raising kids who never really quite understood how to be a parent because they didn't have parents either, the right type of parents. So I feel like this, man, if we could stop depending on somebody else to do our responsibility,
To
then
raise our
things
kids,
definitely change.
or what, or how do you feel about I've heard like some black evangelists out there say that, hey, don't shame the black kids that want to be in the police department. You should um, promote to the black community to put more blacks in the police department, the fire department, and stuff like that. How do you feel about our generation joining the police and stuff like that? Because some people are totally against it.
I believe that's the best thing we can do because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, if we get the right type of people in the police department, it stops a lot of this other shit that's going on. You know what I mean? Like we need more kids to find a more productive way to go about finding a career. There's nothing wrong with being a police officer. There's nothing wrong with being a firefighter, a doctor, and all that other shit. It's a lot more uh uh it's a lot more money in it than standing on the corner selling dope. So my thing is what you want to be. A nobody broke or somebody with some money and you could pass down generational wealth. I'll
yep.
never tell
Because
a kid
and
don't be a
then
cop.
and then we can make some changes, man. I obviously think that we would see the numbers drop on accidental killings, man. I just seen in the news the other day or yesterday that the police killed somebody at the mall. He had his headset on, and they're talking to him, and he reached in his pocket to grab his Walkman, and they shot him in his back, man, right there on the right there in the parking lot at the mall. You know what I mean? I feel
Talk about
like
the
if
one
there
that
was
got shot in the back of the head.
in the back of the head, right at the Tyler
I
Mall.
seen that.
That's right here in my city, man, where I live at in Riverside. But I think that if we had more of our people in the police department, that we would know how to deal with the criminals or the gangbangers. Some of the gangbangers, I feel they feel a little bit more comfortable turning themselves in to somebody that's more like them instead of their door getting kicked in and drugged out the house in front of their whole family, in front of the community. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
think
think.
part. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I think part the issue is the way they training these cops is to be afraid of these areas. They're not training
Mhm.
them to embrace the area. So these cops are not coming from these areas that are very high crime ridden and things like that. They coming from somewhere in the suburb or where they got a lot of money at, and they was already taught since a kid, watch out for that black man. He up to
Right,
no good and stuff like that. So if we can
right,
get, that's why I say I'll never tell a kid in the urban community not to be a cop because that's our best bet to get people who understand us in these positions and move
right,
these ones out that don't.
right, right. You're definitely right, man. Hey, do you think, as far as us, like the people like us that do content, do you think we have a responsibility into putting content out there that more fits the younger generation's future? Like my boy that's in the chat right now, B Down. Sometimes he does videos about purchasing land, about doing stuff out on his acres or whatever, about cutting wood, about building your credit and stuff like that. Do you think that feeds the young black mind and it makes them want to go out and be successful in life? What do you think as far as us content creators and shit, man? Like, how could
I
we help the
definitely,
community? How could we help the
I definitely
community
feel,
be a little better?
I definitely feel like we have a big responsibility because it goes back to this, man. Like, you think your kid ain't watching that shit? So I struggle with that at times too when I indulge in bullshit content. Like, my
Yep.
kids watch my YouTube page, and I have to remind myself like what I put on there, they're gonna see. And then if they ask me about it, I'll be like, man, what? Like, why are you watching that? So that's why I kind of cut back on a lot of the bullshit because I understand that it is very much food to my kids' mind, and they look up to me in a way that they only view me as their leader and as they hope. So it's like if I put this bullshit out here, then I'm teaching them something that I wouldn't teach them off camera, which is very contradictory. So it goes hand in hand. We owe these kids a whole lot, kids that ain't even ours.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if we're gonna be on here putting all this bullshit out here, we can't complain about the direction that these kids is taking because it was our fault too.
Right. And hey, look, at that note, do you feel like no jumper is the pipeline to prison? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are saying that no jumper. And I noticed that you did an interview with Brick Baby. I wanted to tell you also that was a hell of an interview. You did a good job with that interview. You asked all the right questions and stuff, man. But are you? Does it start to seem like no jumper is starting to be the pipeline to prison? Like it's starting to breed uh, people that are heading to prison, or how do you feel about the new no jumper, the new no jumper content?
I feel like No Jumper holds a major responsibility to what they put out too, but I also feel like that responsibility falls back on the ones who allow their kids or the adults who watch it. Um, if that makes sense. So if we allow our kids to watch that shit, that's on us. But if we watch it and then taking that shit, that's on us too. So it goes hand in hand to me because at the end of the day, what you want somebody telling you how to run your business, but
Right,
at the same time, it's like if we know that this business is bad for us, why do we keep going back to it? Why do we keep spending money on it? That goes
right,
back to training the mind to understand that this is wrong, this ain't right, stay away from it.
true, definitely true, man. Well, look, man, this is the part of the interview, man. I want to like focus in more on you and like what type of person you are, man. You lost your first channel, or your first and second channel.
No, my second one, well, I had got a couple community guideline situations and I just took it down anyway. I just felt like it was more bullshit than anything, so I let it go. This YouTube shit really don't mean a whole lot to me, but I
Right.
also want to craft it the right way if I'm gonna take it serious.
There you go. So, like, what do you do, man? Like, what's your choice of content? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you prefer to look at as content? You know what I mean? Like, you know, what do you watch? What shows up on your timeline? You know what I mean?
Honestly, a lot of documentaries show up on my timeline, a lot of educational things like I'll be watching old documentaries on like Nelson Mandela, people that actually had a purpose in this world. And then sometimes some bullshit will pop in there just to get a laugh. But what I watch is not typically what I do content on either. Like sometimes it do be like if I find a topic worth covering, but
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I'm trying to get to now is like what is in my actual timeline that I find interesting. I need to do more content on that because there's
Right.
enough content creators out here doing content on the bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right. My boy put your let's see, he put your YouTube channel in the chat, but uh for the people that's not looking at the chat, give everybody your YouTube channel, your Instagram, all of your handles, man, so they can contact you because maybe somebody else is going through the same situation that you're going through. Maybe they want to holler at you, man, and you could be a beacon of light for somebody out there, man. Give them your handles.
Okay, so my YouTube page is Smoke Session Reloaded. You can type that in, it'll pop up. It's all one word, or you can separate it, it'll still pop up. My IG is at its principles smoky, all one word, or you can find me on my other IG page, which is smoke session with smoking.
Yeah, my boy just put it in the chat right now too, man. What's your plans, man, for the rest of this year? No, I see you've been doing your lives again, and bringing it back together, man. What's your plans as far as this new YouTube channel? Um, what do you have planned? Which way are you gonna go with this new channel?
So from this point going forward, majority of the stuff I upload will be on this process I'm going through now with my mother, because I feel like it needs to be put out there because it just doesn't pertain to my mother. It's a problem that's going on all across the United States, where innocent people or people in general who are dying out here aren't getting the right justice, and there's innocent people being locked up behind stuff they didn't do. So I want to push that more out there, more realistic, more content that you can feel in your soul. Like, look, I know somebody going through that, or I'm going through it, because I feel like I have too much of a story to let it go to waste. I feel like I got too much of a testimony to just let it sit on a shelf and not share it. So that's going to
Right.
be my main focus.
All right. Somebody, my boy in the comments says, what do you feel about the current state of cannabis industry, legal and black market? As far as out there in Omaha, Nebraska.
Well, we got a governor who refuses to sign Pete Ricketts. A matter of fact, I don't think that's the governor no more. But we got a Republican governor who refuses to sign and pass into law legalizing cannabis. And their main thing is it does something to the mind that makes kids act a certain way and people act a certain way. I feel like that's an old way of thinking, because there's a lot of people out here who, if you just let spark up a blunt, they might not think about doing something stupid. Because me, I've smoked weed damn near my whole life. And I know when I smoke and I got something going on, it takes my mind off of it. And sometimes that's all you need in a certain moment, is something to take your mind off of something. It helps with pain, and also it helps you stop doing certain type of addictions like that are
Yep.
harmful to you. So I
Right.
believe cannabis should definitely be legal because it can be beneficial all the way around the board.
Right. And if you paying attention, man, some parts of the NBA and the NFL, they have opened it up as like a healing drug or a healing hemp or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes,
everybody, they got to start at least thinking about marijuana. As far as these states go, because shit, they getting major money off of it on the taxes, and it could be a cash cow for a certain state, especially like Nebraska. You know what I mean? I feel like I didn't even know that they were that tough on marijuana out there. You know what I mean? But I think more states should open up on having marijuana there, because I think it would bring down the crime. You know what I'm saying? Because then you would have less people trying to sneak it over there. You know what I mean? And try to sell it or whatever.
I
They would
feel like
have.
you can make more money off of it legally. The
Right.
states can make more money off of it legally than they would trying to arrest people and go through all that other shit. Because Missouri and places like that is making bank.
Right. California, man. They got
Yeah,
dispensaries on every corner down here, man.
most definitely. I
Uh,
need to come out there and try some of that good old weed. I had some Marathon OG one time I got from Missouri. Man, that shit, boy. I said, oh Lord.
man, they got that shit on. Man, they got this. You, I got this saying, man. You can kick over a trash can out here in California, and 5 or 6 fucking weed dealers to run out that motherfucker, man. They just everywhere. Hold on, we got another question for you. It says, what does he think the best way to consume it is? Blunt, papers, pipes, bongs.
I would
What's
say
your
papers and bones, man, because everybody knows that Swishers and backwoods is all tobacco, and that shit ain't good for you. So let's keep it clean and mean, man. And plus the hit be a lot stronger when it's not with no leaf.
and my boy B in the chat? He makes pipes and bongs too. He has his own company where I bought the little pipes for my son and stuff. Man, he makes some excellent pipes and shit, man. So you might want to check his channel out. That's another thing he shows on this channel, how he makes them and stuff like that. But I think he got another question. Oh no, he's saying it's a mess in Minnesota. He's in Minnesota, by the way, too. He said it's a
Oh
mess.
yeah.
He said it's a mess in Minnesota on the legal side. On the streets, it's a race to the bottom. Yeah,
It's
shit,
crazy
that's
you say
crazy.
that because I was in Minnesota when they first passed the farm bill, and I was in the mall, and I remember thinking that they had the stores up, and I asked the lady in the thing like, "Hey man, where's the dispensary at?" She was like, "No, no, 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 no. They just passed it. It's not gonna be legal till like 2025 or some shit." I don't know if
Damn.
they got all that squared away or not, but I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
So it's not fully legal out there yet in Minnesota.
I don't know. Don't get me lying. He probably know, but I just know when I was out there at visiting Mall of America and Wolf's Lodge, uh, that it wasn't yet. That was like 2 years ago.
Oh, he
Like
said
they had
not.
just
Nah,
passed the
this
farm
still.
bill.
He said no. It's still not legal out there yet. But maybe that. I see it's passed in some other states, man. Maybe it's coming. You know what I'm saying? Because like you just said, man, that shit can pay some bills, man. It's become a cash cow in certain states. You know what I mean? That's especially like a state that doesn't have the funds to do certain shit, man. That's another form of income right there for people. Jobs, it's jobs for people too. You know what I'm saying? You
Well, if you
know,
think about it, majority of these states that don't let it pass are Republican. Majority of them. So it's like a Republican way of thinking in my mind,
oh, he
to
said
not let it pass.
he said, yeah, it is legal. It is legal out there, I guess. Okay, that's cool, man. But yeah, man, shit. What was I gonna ask you next? Somebody else asked a question. So shit, what kind of music you into, man? Like, what's your top 10, man? Who's your top 10 hip hop artists and shit? Who you listen to?
See, I'm an old school type of dude, man. I'm still on my Motown shit. I throw on some Marvin Gaye, like some damn Teddy Pendergrass. Some man, look, I'm old school. I was raised by people who were born in the 1937 and 1929, so my lineage goes that way. But I do listen to hip hop, and a lot of that stuff is older, like Tupac, of
Right,
course, Biggie. I love my West Coast hip hop. I love my New York. I love my down south Scarface. I love some Rakim. Nas. I'm a big fan of Nas. I love the Nas, the way he raps and the way he puts it together. It's like my
right,
mindset, poetry. So yeah, man. I love my little Boosie too, the original Boosie. I don't know what he got going on now. Um, I know I'm forgetting somebody. These newer rappers though, man, I fuck with J. Cole and Kendrick because I like the science of hip hop, man, the artistry.
right. Do you feel like streaming is starting to take over hip hop, or is it going to be the next phase of the internet? How do you feel about streamers and stuff?
I feel like streaming, if it keeps going the way it's going, it's gonna get oversaturated, like YouTube did. Like you got a lot of people out here trying to be streamers and stuff, and it's a good thing because but just like everything else, when something pops, everybody starts doing it, making money. But then eventually, so many people start doing it that it just oversaturated. So I ain't gonna tell nobody how to get their money, but I feel like if you got a good personality, like I'll bring his name up, Demon Time. Definitely, he got a mindset of a streamer. Like he's funny and shit like that. Like
Right,
certain people need to be streamers because of who they are. Sauce Walker is a perfect example. The
right.
way his character is on and off the camera is that's him.
His
So
life,
he
and that's
needs
his
to be a
that's his
streamer.
that's his lifestyle. Like the person that's flamboyant and he's always pulling out money and in different cars. That's a person that need to have a camera with him all the time. I was thinking like
Yes,
somebody like Lush One too. I think Lush One should be a streamer because he's into so much different stuff. He does
and he's
battle.
controversial.
He's controversial and he's been everywhere, and he hosts battle raps and he does his podcasting. He manages artists and stuff like that. I think he should have a cameraman with him every day, man, because it seems like something always happens when you don't have that camera with you. You know what I mean? Something that would have went viral. You know what I mean?
Facts. Yes, most
Hold on.
definitely.
Somebody in the chat said, "How old are your kids?"
My oldest will be 18 next year. My youngest is 5. So I got two sets of twins. My youngest set of twins are 5.
Ooh,
I
shit.
got a I got a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old. I got a 13-year, or excuse me, two 10-year-olds. Because they're boys. I got a 12-year-old son. I got two 15-year-olds. I got another 15-year-old. And yeah, man. So I got
I'm telling
five boy or 6 boys and 5 girls.
man, it's safe to say you're taking a break with the kids, right?
Shit,
On
it's
on that.
never a break, man. It's like every day, all day,
No,
man. But
no,
look, I
no,
wouldn't
I'm
trade
talking
it
about,
for the world.
no, I'm talking about having more kids.
Oh yeah, I can't. My wife got her tubes and everything removed and shit. So and my shit ain't snipped yet. But I've been trying to find somebody I can sell this sack to because they were talking about $35,000 a They
Oh
said
man,
35,000 a pop. I said, well, shit, they might pay me 70 because this shit is enriched.
he said it's proven. It's a proven fact. I got 11 of them. God damn it, man, for real, bro. You know, I like chopping it up with you, man. Like I said, give everybody your handles one more time, man. We gonna get ready to close out and shit. And this ain't the last time, man. We gonna do this again. No, this ain't even an interview, man. We just chopping it up. And you know, I wanted you to tell your story and get out there more, man, and get more subscribers to hear your story. I think your story is beautiful, man, and you know, keep I say keep pushing. Everybody in the chat they say keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? So uh, tell everybody tell everybody your handles, how to get in contact with you, and shit, we're gonna close it out, man.
All right, everybody. Hey, for one, let me start with this. I appreciate y'all for the inspiration to keep going and stuff. This shit do get hard at times, especially with the circumstance I'm dealing with now. But again, you can find me at Smoke Session Reloaded. You can put it all in as one word, or you can separate the reloaded from the session and the smoke. And then you can find me at its principal Smokey, all one word on IG, or at Smoke Session with Smokey underscore between Smokey and Session and underscore with Session and smoking. So yeah, you can find me there too, man. I'm everywhere.
And if anybody want to help him, like he's in a constant battle, man, with the police out there. If anybody have any ideas, and they want to get at him, that's his handles. Maybe some people may know a little bit more than we do. You know what I'm saying? If anybody have any ideas, y'all drop him a line, man. Let him know because he's been going hard with this for 10 years. Trying to find his mother's killers and stuff, man. So yeah, man. Y'all go to his channel, check him out, subscribe to his channel. He got good content over there. He just dropped a Break Baby interview that kind of blew the internet out the water. You know what I mean? Nobody expected that to drop when it did. Being that Brick Baby's been in jail for a minute, so I would say you picked a good time to drop that interview. You know what I mean? So y'all go
Most
check his
definitely.
y'all go check his content out, show support. You know what I mean? Share his channel around, and I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you giving me your
Hey,
time.
no, awkward. I want to say I appreciate you, man, because you was the first platform that reached out, and I definitely jumped on it because I feel like no matter the platform, I need to get this out there. So I appreciate you for taking the time to even stop and do this, man. Again, dog, like I'm very appreciative of that. Like I hold that to my heart. So I want to thank you for that.
Nah, man, I see the passion, bro. I see the passion, and when you was telling your story that night, I almost cried, bro. My nephew looking over at me like, bro, you over there about to cry and shit? Like, nah, I'm trying to be a man and shit. Wipe my eyes, like, nah, man, I'm good. But nah, man, your story is very touching, man, and I believe it needs to be heard by more people, a bigger audience, man. So anything that I can do to help you get your word out there, your story out there, I'm here, bro. Like I told you the first time I met you, you know what I mean? I like your story. And I'm here for you anytime, bro. just let me know.
I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you, man. Thank you for bringing me on.
Oh yeah, and this ain't the last, man. We gonna come back on and chop it up again eventually. If you my channel is your channel, man. If you got anything you want to get out there, I'm here for you, bro.
Likewise. Likewise.
All right. Okay, bro.
All right, tap in with me.
All right.